The following is a presentation of the HAN Network, the leader for local news, sports, and entertainment in Fairfield and Westchester counties.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Jack Casagrande Field on the campus of Brien McMahon High School in Norwalk. I'm Rob Adams, and today girls soccer makes its debut on the HAN Network as we officially become the voice of the FCIAC and the face and the picture and everything in between. And today we will watch the Brien McMahon Senators take on the New Canaan Rams in girls soccer, with the Rams coming in at 1-0 on the year, and for the Senators, they are 0-1. Our officials for today are Ann Powers and David Figueroa, and you are just in time to get it going as the ball sits right out at the stripe. And looking forward to this one. A couple of teams that, for New Canaan, certainly a big year last year, as we highlighted on Nutmeg Sports earlier today with Donald Dang and myself, as they made a big run. And, of course, you know, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. The Rams finished very well. On the other hand, the Senators 4-12 last year. They scuffled, but seem to be a program that is constantly improving. And their head coach, Richard Hickson, looking for some good things this year. So just about ready to get it going from here at Brien McMahon High School. I will act almost more like a steward for this game in that I will guide us along, and away we go. So initially controlled by New Canaan and knocked out on that far side. And off we go. As opposed to the European style of clock, as they say, it does not count up here. It's a countdown clock as it's played back by New Canaan. Now McMahon will take it. That's Sarah Helms. And Helms gets it to Michaela Facina, sophomore on the far side. Playing it back out near center. It gets turned around by Olivia Rosato, captain of the girls' soccer team here. Danielle Bonas as well is also a captain. Swung back around to the far side, and Vanessa Geraldo can't play it, so it'll be New Canaan ball. New Canaan with the throw-in goes from left to right. No score, a minute gone by. Just settling in. Turned back around by McMahon. They'll play it across. Played over on the far side. No score. 90 seconds gone in the first half. And of course, at this kind of a setup, the horns and all take place on the field, much as lacrosse does. Quite often, you'll hear the horns coming from the field. Well, the same going here. As the Senators play it back out, and they spin it back inside. Played by Chloe Ortolano for McMahon. Spun just outside. Now working it down, and the save made. So still no score. And there is the long pooch back out. Play back the other way. To be lifted back out. And New Canaan able to corral it initially. But Olivia Rosato for the Senators sends it back towards center. And it'll be taken now by the Rams. That's Kyle, the McMahon coach. 3 and change gone as we're just underway and no score. A small crowd here. You can see some of the new turf kicking up, and that's kind of become a back in by New Canaan and Samantha Stewart. Sammy sends it in. Play back by Olivia Leone. And back in front of the McMahon net. No score. Leone will set things up to bring it out. Making the approach, and with the left foot brings it back. Snagged by Michaela Facina. Turn to the far side for Vanessa Geraldo. And they'll bring it across near the New Canaan bench. Part of the reality of just watching in warm-ups as we were in the national anthem, you could look at that far side and see the depth for New Canaan, and you can see it right now as we look across the way. New Canaan's bench, plenty of bodies sitting on it. McMahon, not as much. Over there. No score. Down on net it goes. And no harm. Just about 5 minutes gone in the first half. Five minutes gone by, no score. And out onto the track on that far side. Traditionally, you'd often find men allowed us to park underneath the bleachers where we are set up today, in front of, the reality being a sparse crowd here at Casa Grande. And we were talking about that before the game, how many people will we see? And 4 o'clock start. Unfortunately, the realities of girls sports versus boys sports and all that stuff being what it is, and I'll, pretty much leave the conversation at that, but facts are facts, unfortunately. No score, just about 6 gone here in the first. As it spins back into the McMahon end, and they'll go and retrieve it. So they'll get ready to throw it back in. As it's knocked around. And again, no score, first half. We're just warming you up here. No score, McMahon and New Canaan. On a beautiful Tuesday afternoon, temperatures hovering in the mid to upper 70s. We'll have more soccer on Thursday. That is an adjustment that we have to make, that I have to get out to the entire crew. And this again, another glance of reality, because times have a tendency to change without anyone knowing it. So Thursday's game at Greenwich between Wilton and the Cardinals was expected to be a 5 o'clock start. It is now a 4:30 start. And it's very minor, half-hour adjustment, but just in case. Now, one thing I should remind you, especially as we get deeper into the FCIAC season, if for any chance, and by any chance, there's some kinds of a, what you're going to automatically assume to be a technical issue, be it a frozen shot, bad audio, this, that, or the other, just refresh it first. That'd be my words of wisdom to you, is just hit that refresh button and everything should sync right back up for one reason or another. Still no score here. 8 minutes gone in the first. And by the way, and this is running in all of our papers this week and online and etc., and I wish this had existed when I was a young broadcaster. If you would like to be, no matter what age you are, as this bounces right into the grandstands and a few rows below us, ever wanted to be in broadcasting, there are actually opportunities where we at least would have the conversation with you. We'll need camera people and heck, statisticians, and lots of different ways you can help us out. And certainly there would be potentially opportunities to get back on the air, as we thank Kate Czaplinski for throwing the ball back in. Still no score here. 31 minutes remaining in the first half. On a technical side, especially if you want to be in the world of video, you can contact my colleague Eric Gendron, and he would be more than happy to have that conversation with you. I believe it is video at HersumAcorn.com. He doubted me as he started writing furiously. And conversely, if you want to be on air or try audio editing or something like that, you can contact me. It's radio at HersumAcorn. And we'd be happy to have that conversation with you. We've already heard from a few people who are interested. We know it's a matter of your schedule and all that stuff, but certainly it's an exciting time, and that's really one of the cool things about our partnership with the FCIAC. As I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, this is our first official broadcast as voice of the FCIAC. And we will have it all for you. Still no score here. McMahon in New Canaan in Norwalk. But, of course, the FCIAC Championship in football will be here, among a whole lot more. And, of course, it's the much-maligned FCIAC Football Championship. Cost people games and ruined millions of lives. And I think I cast a plague upon New Haven, and I forget what else got accused of. But for me, it's not the last time I'll say it. When it comes around in November, it'll be the 11th time I've broadcast that championship game. I love it. Having been a part of it that many times, it is just a super cool experience. And all you need to see is last year's game for proof. And I know, Eric's off mic, but I think he would agree with that as well, because he was walking that sideline last year for New Canaan and Darien. Chris Callan and Chris Irway rounded out our crew that day, and just the excitement and the white-knuckle drama and the biting of the fingernails, and that was just what Cato was doing. Cato's a good guy. We'll see him soon. Under 29 to go in the first half, still no score. So that's just a little hint of some of the good things coming on in our partnership with the FCIAC. And we are, by the way, we have added a few things to the schedule that I haven't, gone crazy promoting just yet, but I happen to notice a change in the schedule. Besides that 4:30 game coming up on Thursday, that was 5 o'clock, I was alerted to a change between Ridgefield and Greenwich in football later in the year. Still no score here. Greenwich and Ridgefield will play at Cardinal Stadium in football on Saturday, November 14th now. That was supposed to be Friday the 13th. Yeah, I said Friday the 13th. But it is now Saturday the 14th at 4 o'clock. What that has done is it's opened a nice little hole, because if there's one thing we've noticed, we want to cover every school in some way, shape, or form. Well, we've got the opportunity to get in Trinity Catholic and Bridgeport Central Friday night the 13th at Kennedy Stadium. So we will be there. Still no score. New Canaan in the red, while McMahon in the white kits. That's Sammy Stewart bringing it down the near side. Madison Starr now works it across. They're trying to set something up out in front. Looked good there for a moment, but it got booted back out. For a moment, played. And I have to admit, I have gotten bitten by a number that is not on the initial roster that I was given, a number 20 for McMahon. So we'll work that out. Over to the near side, it's Sarah Helms. I think if I heard that correct, Brenda Vega, Brenda Vega wearing number 20. So we've got that all straight now. Vega was initially supposed to wear 29, but she's wearing 20. She's a senior. Still no score. Under 26 to go in the opening stanza. And they'll kick it back out. Madeline Dunn for McMahon. Expecting to hear from Dave Stewart later in the broadcast as he's here today, dancing around the defender. Now stopping the set. Oh, it got booted back out. Skylar O'Mahony there for New Canaan. Now off to the far side. Scoreless game. I'm going to need a judgment from some of my soccer colleagues whether or not we'll be saying 0-0 or no score or nothing. We have to work on our nomenclature here as it comes right out in front of us. Our tent set up in the stands where you will find Josh Fisher and Kate Chaplinsky probably willing to give autographs, although I don't know. I have no proof of that. McMahon will inbound. The throw-in comes from Sarah Helms. Marisha Slowick out there. And that's where we get a whistle. For you newbies, just keep the clock turning. There is no stop. Does not stop. So they will line things up here with McMahon and Olivia Leone. The PK coming here. She'll make the approach with the left foot. Just kind of rolled it toward the net and the dive and the save. Didn't quite get a lot on that kick, so we continue on, no score, with 24 to go in the first half. Played out to center. Bouncing around it goes. Here's New Canaan. They are in the red, white, and black, their traditional colors, while the white with the blue outlined in red, that is McMahon. In a scoreless match, our first soccer broadcast ever, in fact, here on the HAN network. So, a little girl power for the first game. This is played back to center. Rolling over to the far side and out. 23-17 and ticking. No score. Still scoreless. Over on that far side. Good crew on hand here today. Tracy Iazi, Marty Hersom, AJ Simonowski. I mentioned Josh and Kate. Eric Gendron directing to my left. As we get closer to the halfway point of the first half. Scoreless game so far. Rolling around, this will head toward the back end. New turf here at Brien McMahon. Felt different to walk out on that turf today as I did when I walked over to the scorer's table before the match. And you could just feel those rubber pellets and the fresh turf here. The old turf was quite a few years old. I would say a good decade or so, but I could be wrong. Still scoreless. To be rolled back in on that far side. Numbers are kind of hard to see across the way, so takes a little moment to get used to it. but they'll reset. New Canaan across there. McMahon with Carissa Ruther. Now they work it. Chloe Ortolano throws it right for Ruther. Connected with Ortolano down there. New Canaan comes over with O'Mahony, and it rolls out. Still no score. And Ann Powers will tell her where to bring it in. For New Canaan, it was Kelly McClymon's first time we've called her name, wearing number 11. Abigail Farley. Now over to the near side. For McMahon, it's Ruther. Snagged by Facina. She'll roll it back toward Lindsay McEwen. And knocked away by Sammy Stewart. Stewart will retrieve it and throw it right back in. Off the head and out of bounds of Catherine Kuczynski, a senior. I beg your pardon, that's 19 on the other side. That's Olivia Leone, excuse me. With 19 and a half to go in the first half. Thrown in by the Rams from the corner. It'll get backed out. And to the near side it goes. Rolling it ahead for the Rams and McClymonds. Ortolano. You can't help but hear whistles, and there are various things going on, practices and so on, so you almost stop for a second, but it's the ones on the field that count. So long as those girls can keep them all straight, okay. Down on net it goes, and grabbed down there. So we stay scoreless. And this will go back the other way. Earlier today on Nutmeg Sports, you saw some of our videos as we've been rolling back through them from the FCIAC tour. Sarah Helms comes over to the near side. Helms had it taken away from her by Sammy Stewart. And McMahon will go back to get it. That's Leone. Still no score. As I started to say, though, we had some of the videos. We had all these teams on Nutmeg Sports today. Both of these girls' teams as well as the boys' teams. Here's McMahon, but it got spun back. And it rolls rolls to the far side. Nice move by Ortolano. Now she'll go back to her right. .15.5 to go in the first half. No score. Pushed forward by the Senators as they try to break the tie here, but good defense, and this will come down on net. Nice play. And it'll get quickly thrown right back the other way to Stewart. Stewart brings it forward to Brooke Volpe. Sends it over toward Madison Starr. And it rolls down on net. Nice play by McMahon. Comes across to Stewart. Stewart toward Volpe. And that gets rolled out to the near side. 14 minutes to go. First half, no score. McMahon and New Canaan. Stewart trying to break through a double team. Comes over to the near side. Taken away by McMahon. And that was Caroline Gordon. Stewart will bring it back in from the corner. She throws it in. Gets headed right back the other way toward that very same corner. Knocked away, I believe, by Leone, and it was. 13:10 to go, first half. Again, a countdown clock, in case you're wondering why not the count up. Just so you know. As they get kicked off to the right side of the net, and it'll bounce away, and the players will retreat and head back from right to left. Twelve and a half to go in the half. Still no score. Sent down the right side. And Canaan will kick it out. So McMahon trying to get something going. No score so far. 28 minutes gone here in the first half. There is the throw in. Off to that corner and kicked right back over near those grandstands and stairs over there on the visiting side. Of course, it's supposed to be the visiting side today, but with the sun beating down on this side, you get it in your face a lot. Still no score. Played back, and New Canaan will take it the other way. Now McMahon. Stewart coming over to try to save it. Nice try there, but it comes right over onto the track. Of course, we remind you because, well, our sponsors are Coastal Orthopedic, Pamby Motors, Carl Chevrolet, and Walter Stewart's Market. As McMahon takes it with Rosado. Vega was in the middle of that as well. Stewart, again, who's been really omnipresent, sends it back the other way. Down comes McMahon to play it with Madeline Dunn. Good pursuit there. 10 minutes to go, first half. Right out in front, but good play defensively to send it out. Once again, Leone in there in the midst of things. Both teams have had chances. There's Dave Stewart right near the ball. Played back near center. Sent down that far right side. 8:26 to go in the first half. So New Canaan will take it. Rams bring it over near side, but good pursuit to turn it back the other way with Ortolano. Ortolano grabs it, 10 yards out. A little more, but you can use the football markers up to a point and maybe add a few extra yards on. As Leone sent it right back down the left side. And that'll pop out. So New Canaan will throw it back in. Down to 7 to go in the first half. The Rams trying to turn it out. Still no score with 6:50 to go in the first half. Marisha Slowick down there for McMahon. Rosado in the midst of that. Had it knocked away from her. Sent back to the far side. Now McMahon. Now New Canaan takes it back. Here's McMahon in the white. But it comes over to the near side for the Rams. Stewart trying to work her way around Helms. Goes right for Volpe. Sends it across. O'Mahony there. They'll push it left. Pretty clean game overall so far. 5:40 to go in the opening half. No score. As New Canaan on the far end. They'll go for the throw-in. Trying to feed it across. It'll get spun right back around and off to the right side of the net. Five minutes exactly remaining in the first half. Coming over toward New Canaan as they stay with it with O'Mahony. .429 remaining in the half. Off the head of Laura Soma for McMahon. 4:08 to go. First half, no score. Down the left side it goes. And this will roll over to the track on the far side of the field. No score, 3.5 remaining in the first half. As the sun begins to push across to the far side, the western side of the field here at Casa Grande Field. Rolls down in front of the New Canaan, or rather, I beg your pardon, the McMahon net. And it'll get spun right back. New Canaan in the red. 2:51 to go first half. Substitutions coming in. .225 remaining, scoreless half. Got knocked away. Looked like Leone was right in the middle of that, and it was. So New Canaan will try to spin it around. Kleiman's in the midst of that with 2:04 to go in the half. Almost took a little bit of a funny bounce for a moment, but nothing that couldn't be handled. So we remain scoreless with 1:55 remaining in the half. As Danielle Bonas got it out of her net, down to the left side is Katie Donovan, the captain of New Canaan, one of the captains, along with Mia Carroll, Caroline Gordon, and Sammy Stewart. .128 to go, first half. Regular season last year, New Canaan coming off an 8-5-3 season Well, McMahon was 4-12-0, but that was regular season FCIAC records. Canaan went deep into Class L last year. They lost to Mercy 2-0 in the quarters.
1 minute remaining.
Trying to reset things with McMahon. It's Ortolano. She takes a look, kicks to her right. Had it taken away from her by Kaczynski for New Canaan. Just about a half minute remaining in a scoreless first half. As we head on to the track. Again, that clock continues to run as we're down to 15.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And you heard the countdown. You didn't need me to say a whole lot more. Perfectly played to end the first half, and that's the way it ends. With this game knotted at 0, no score between New Canaan and Brien McMahon. First half comes to an end, and we'll get ready to take a break. And, of course, thanking our sponsors, as always. Eric Gendron directing off to my left, and we'll take a timeout. Halftime here at Jack Casagrande Field on the campus of Brien McMahon High School. Girls soccer right here on the HAN Network with our score, McMahon 0 and New Canaan 0. We're back after this on the HAN Network.
When you experience a sports injury, you want to get better and fast. Coastal Ortho Express gives you direct access to orthopedic care quickly. Their physicians are fellowship trained in sports medicine at world-class universities and are also team doctors for area football teams. For specialized personal care of sports injuries, go to Coastal Ortho Express. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark Building, 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or coastalorthoexpress.com. Coastal Orthopedics, keeping you on the move.
Does buying a car leave you feeling like you're chasing your tail? Head straight to Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram and take car buying in a whole new direction.
Football University, the nation's leading football training experience, is now accepting applications for its 2015 camps. Our elite faculty of NFL coaches and top professionals teach position-specific on the field and in the classroom to improve your football IQ and help you reach your full potential as a player. Apply today at footballuniversity.org. Football University, where technique plus talent beats talent alone.
Back to school means back to busy, and Stewart's Market can save you precious time by stocking all of your favorite essentials under one roof. For a healthy start to school, we have all the ingredients. Walter Stewart's, your family-owned fresh local market, 229 Elm Street and at stewartsmarket.com.
While the temperatures are cooling down, the fall bite is heating up. Albies, bonita, blackfish, alligator blues, and stripers are following the large schools of bait that are abundant in the Long Island Sound. If you love the New England coast during autumn, this is the time to be on the water. The latest from Shimano, Quantum, Avet, Hoagie, Phase 2 and more are in stock and ready to go at the Dock Shop. And don't mind those fall breezes with jackets, hats, gloves, and fleece from Grundens and Stormer. The Dock Shop will keep you warm and dry. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, now in 2 locations, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
Carl Chevrolet is proud to sponsor HAN Network's coverage of the area's best high school sports. No matter the sport, competition in the FCIAC is spirited, so get out and cheer on your favorite team. If you can't make it to the game, be sure to bring HAN Network with you to keep up with the action. Visit Carl Chevrolet in New Canaan or online at carldirect.com.
When you experience a sports injury, you want to get better and fast. Coastal Ortho Express gives you direct access to orthopedic care quickly. Their physicians are fellowship trained in sports medicine at world-class universities and are also team doctors for area football teams. For specialized personal care of sports injuries, go to Coastal Ortho Express. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark Building, 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or coastalorthoexpress.com. Coastal Orthopedics, keeping you on the move.
Does buying a car leave you feeling like you're chasing your tail? Head straight to Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram and take car buying in a whole new direction.
Highcoat Rockefeller Estate is Westchester County's top cultural attraction and is now open for the season. Don't miss out. Go online to hudsonvalley.org to plan your visit. Take a drive out to beautiful Sleepy Hollow, New York, and enjoy Highcoat's stunning architecture, breathtaking gardens, expansive art galleries, and commanding Hudson River views. From world-class art by Picasso and Warhol to expertly tended gardens, there's something for everyone. Highcoat Rockefeller Estate, a National Trust for Historic Preservation landmark.
Have no fear. Hersom Acorn's Fast Frights movie contest is here. Can your film make the cut? Submit your original 3-minute horror movie today. Visit fastfrights.com for more details.
The fall bite is heating up. Albies, bonita, blackfish, alligator blues, and stripers are following the large schools of bait in the Long Island Sound. This is the time to visit the New England coast, and the Dock Shop can get you outfitted with the latest fishing gear, jackets, hats, gloves, and fleece. Boater, beach bum, fishermen simply love the New England coast. This is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, now in 2 locations, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
Healthy, confident smiles begin at Stratford Orthodontics. Conveniently located on Main Street, we are Stratford's hometown orthodontist. We offer the latest in orthodontic technology, including Damon braces and Invisalign. We always accept new patients. Call today to schedule a complimentary consultation. 203-375-8332. Stratford Orthodontics, 2499 Main Street, Stratford. 203-375-8332 and online at stratfordsmile.com.
Do you do a lot of running around but get nowhere when you're buying a car? Visit Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram for the one-stop buying experience and stop spinning your wheels.
All right, back with you at Brien McMahon High School. Dave Stewart joins me at halftime. I'm Rob Adams, and Dave, no score, of course, for the uninitiated viewer. They might be saying, "Where's the scoring?" But that's not an unusual thing to see no score.
No, especially not during the first half of an FCIAC game. Everybody, they seem to be for a while there. They seem to be feeling each other out. Both teams had opportunities, but nothing really that you're going to go crazy for. I felt like New Canaan had that one opportunity where the ball got past Bonus, the goalie.
Yep.
And, it was kind of free in front, but it squirted back out between 2 forwards, and that was the end of that, as they say.
Yeah. Do you give an edge? Do you give New Canaan that edge just because of that one play?
I would say the first half was fairly. I thought actually McMahon had an advantage early on. They had the first couple of shots on goal, and they were doing a good job with the 50-50 ball. They still are, but I do feel like New Canaan kind of settled it a little bit. Hasn't really gotten a ton of penetration though. They probably had a better possession at this point.
Yeah,
but nothing that you're gonna like I said, go crazy for.
Where do you get a sense for this McMahon team? Because it looks to me like they're hanging in there.
I'm impressed. McMahon's actually a team over the last couple of years. You've probably talked about this already, but
a little bit.
Had one win a couple of years ago, 4 wins last year. They are a team that's improving. I still think New Canaan's a contender for the FCIAC this year, and given the way they played in the playoffs last year and how they did overall and their tradition. I would like to see what happens in the second half here, because teams like New Canaan, Darien, Ridgefield, teams that are always in it have a tendency to wear down their opponents, and you might see like a 3-0 score and all 3 goals are in the second half. So that just goes to depth and conditioning and everything like that. So we'll have to see if McMahon's able to hang with them through the second half like that, and if it's a game down to the end, or if New Canaan's tradition and depth take over.
Yep, we will see what the second half brings us. How do you sense, last thing for you, how do you sense that, what will the second half kind of start off with?
Well, I would like to see New Canaan, in terms of New Canaan, maybe making a little bit better push right there. Right now, there doesn't seem to be a ton of energy going for the ball and to win those points where you're getting that from McMahon. On the other hand, McMahon's going to want to maintain the energy level they've had, and maybe get some pushbacks.
You going to stick around, or you heading back down?
I'll do whatever you need.
I love it. He's going to keep me company up here for a bit. Second half gets started right after this. No score, McMahon and New Canaan on the HAN Network.
Remind you of the last time you went into a car dealership? Experience stress-free waters at Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram, and find out how easy buying a car really is.
Welcome back to Jack Casagrande Field. Of course, you can't help but mention it, Dave Stewart, that whenever you're here, Jack Casagrande, just an important name in McMahon athletics and Norwalk athletics as well.
And how beautiful a field is it right now. I mean, with the new turf and everything, this is this is a real centerpiece for the FCIAC too. I always think of lacrosse finals here. You've got field hockey here. You've really got a lot of stuff going on here, and they do a great job of hosting. And Joe Matafari, of course, is second to none. He
really is. He is fun to talk to, and have worked with Joe. I still struggle to call him Joe, by the way. He's always been Mr. Matafari to me for years.
Or Mad Dog, right?
Or, of course, yeah. Many. I can't even bring myself to call him Mad Dog. I know many do. In any event, second half getting ready to get underway. But he always said to me years ago, he would say to me, Rob, you don't even need to call. Just, show on up when you need to do a game. So he's always been great like that.
He's a very down to earth guy. Just a great guy to hang out with and a great guy to talk to.
So second half underway. Of course, the broadcast brought to you by Walter Stewart's Market, Pamby Motors, Coastal Orthopedics, and Carl Chevrolet. New Canaan now moving from right to left. One thing, and this is, I know this is the way it goes in soccer. It just took me a moment from a broadcasting perspective, and I'll be completely honest. I was confident I knew who was in net for each team, but because they don't wear a traditional kit with a number on it, there's always that playing it safe in my mind.
Definitely. It never hurts to double check, too. New Canaan for the most part, with Katie Donovan there, is going to be, for the most part, is going to have her in the net most of the time during the year.
As Ortolano comes down the near side with Caroline Gordon for New Canaan. New Canaan in the red, McMahon in the white. And a change in net, as you're just pointing out, Dave.
Gordon?
Sounds like Alexandra Gordon, perhaps. for McMahon. So that's interesting.
I believe that's Alexandra Gordon there.
I believe you're right. So we play on, of course. Now moving down, here is New Canaan. Oh, out comes Gordon to turn it away. A couple minutes gone by, we stay scoreless.
She gets some action right away.
She does.
Got to be tough to come off the bench and and get right into it.
Where's the roster? It was. That's Daniel. She started. Yeah. I would say Alexandra Gordon. Think so? She said it's Alexandra, so that's the only one. I think I'm right. See, she shouldn't have 26 in this.
As this will go up and over and out. Turn things back the other way.
You wonder if the sun has an effect on the players going into the sun here, because it is very bright today.
Which Joe Matafari was telling me before the broadcast. He said, you might even want to bring some of the shades down because it'll get really bright here. And we remember that from, many an event that I've covered in this booth. Can't quite say this building, but you know what I mean. Off to the near side and pooched out. Still no score. 3 and change gone. McMahon has Rosado there. She works it forward, but it'll head down toward Donovan. And she kicks it back out. McMahon looks to keep it going. Ortolano had it roll away from her. Now scoot out of the football end zone. Boys soccer Thursday, football Friday. No reason to think that the Rams won't be good again on the gridiron.
Not at all. Not at all. They're they've got a thing going on. They really have it every year, and it's next man up. You graduate a bunch of good guys like Zach Allen, and there's people to come in right behind them.
As it's right out in front of the net, and New Canaan will bring it over, and we play on scoreless.
New Canaan really hasn't been able to get anything to develop going upfield, any real rhythm yet.
There really has not been much of what you would call a rhythm. I go along with that.
Yeah, and I think Ortolano and Rosado for McMahon have done a very good job putting pressure on up top. Not a lot of shots. And McMahon, I think the first half, New Canaan had 4, McMahon had 3. So not talking about a lot of activity that way.
There goes Ortolano. But New Canaan will take it back. 5 and change gone. Second half, no score. New Canaan and McMahon. Chris, you recorded an interview yesterday that'll run on our pregame activity on Friday for the football game.
Yes, with Cass Knox, captain of New Canaan, who unfortunately suffered an ACL tear and a partially torn meniscus during the spring of football camp at Boston College, and will miss the year. And he's been exceptional since he was a sophomore starter, and just has been one of their top tacklers for.
He initially played football in New York City.
Yes, and it's I always feel it's unfortunate when a high schooler misses any time as a player on their team, or let alone a full year. But when you're a senior and you're going into your senior year and this is your last hurrah, so to speak, to me that's the worst. That's even tougher.
Ortolano sends it down toward the side of the net, but snagged there.
Donovan hasn't been caught out of position at all so far. She's a veteran goalie. She's been there for 3 years. Started a little bit as a freshman, a couple of games. But she's been solid, and she's in the spot she needs to be in today.
A handball slowed us up. You can follow us HAN Network CT. New Canaan and again, not a lot of drama either way at this point so far. And is it a long feeling out? What's going on down there, Dave?
I think it's just trying to get a rhythm. Neither team, both teams are fighting for the ball, and I think McMahon is actually doing, as I said before, a better job on the 50-50 balls. But this happens sometimes. Sometimes it's one of those things where you just keep pushing and pushing, and you can't get one into the net. You've seen it in hockey a lot. You see it in field hockey, ice hockey. And after a while, sometimes one team breaks through, and then the floodgates open, and sometimes they come and sometimes they don't.
We have confirmed it's Alex Gordon now in the net for McMahon, which begs the question, why? As this goes up over her net. What would have happened? I didn't see anything in the first half, but...
Well, my understanding of McMahon's situation is that they do have two very capable goalies, and then this may just be their normal thing. They may go back and forth with these with their two goalies, get each a half. I did think Bonus did a good job in the first half, and we'll see. Nothing. There was nothing wrong there. That was a solid first half for her.
FCIAC tournament last year, of course, co-champions with Ward and Staples, and Dave's reaction will likely be the same as mine. I just don't... well, look, I will never be in favor, as this comes down, let's hold on here a moment, gets swung across. I will never be in favor of resolving championships on penalty kicks either, Dave, but I don't know. Given the choice between co-champions and penalty kicks, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not much on co-champs. And I would prefer penalty. I'd prefer to play it out, but I prefer penalty kicks.
That's me. I'd prefer to play it out.
But, I will say this. I've been at some games where it's just back and forth, and you can tell neither team, both teams deserve the win, and neither team is going to really crack through. It comes to penalty kicks, and they can be pretty darn exciting. I mean, it's really a lot. It's very intense. It's very I feel and sometimes it's kind of hanging your goalie out to dry, especially if you have a great game. But New Canaan's biggest win last year was beating St. Joe's, who was the heavy favorite to win the FCIAC.
Right.
1-8 game. New Canaan is the 8 seed. Slips in on the final day of the season, and plays St. Joe's, and Donovan pitches a shutout, which is incredible against St. Joe's, and. They've got Jenna Bike, and she might be the best player in the state. And, then take some 4-2 on penalty kicks in the penalty kick round and moves on.
And you were saying the league is pretty deep again, which I kind of gathered, and I think it is for boys as well. But on the girls' side, Ward and St. Joe's clearly, in your mind, the favorites. But certainly what I'm seeing here today, this is pretty good as well.
Soccer's one of those sports too. On a given day, New Canaan showed it. You can beat anybody. Anybody can beat anybody, and this league is so deep. There's really not any easy marks, and with the boys and the girls, since Bassick and Harding have moved on to a different league, it makes that league even tougher and deeper. So if teams really have to be on their game every day.
Absolutely.
You see how well the FCIAC teams do in the state tournament. In Class L last year, the girls soccer had four of the 8 teams were in the quarterfinals, and then you had two teams playing each other in the I believe Ward and Ridgefield in the semifinals, and of course Ward made it to the finals and lost. Double overtime game, but.
As Caroline Gordon throws it back in, it goes right back out from Paige Fryer.
The FCIAC teams do really strut their stuff, and you wonder if sometimes they don't wear each other out before they get there. But,
very true.
But they seem to function pretty well in those tournaments. I still wish, we've talked about this too, I still wish in the state tournaments there's a way to have teams that are in the same league avoid each other at least for the first round. I know
I'm absolutely in favor of that, and I know for the CIAC that's a very hard thing to do as we stay scoreless with 28 minutes to go, 12 gone, second half. I mean, it's a very tough thing to do, but I just feel like in the same way that you don't want division contenders playing at a professional level, I don't want to see, conference foes playing one another in the early rounds as well.
I always thought some part of the fun of the state tournament was you don't know who you're going to play. You don't know who you haven't seen them before. You've heard about them. You're doing research on them. You're trying to catch up in terms of scouting and things like that. And I always thought that was part of the fun. Either whether you're traveling, if you go on a nice road trip and make it a fun, it's a fun day for you, or even if you're hosting a team from upstate or by the shoreline or whatever, you're getting to see somebody different, and it adds to it, and does give it a playoff feel. If you're seeing a team that you've played twice already, it's I don't think it can be as much fun.
Worked across and put down toward the net, but right into the arms, waiting there, of Donovan. So still no score.
Got that off, but it really didn't have a lot
right
behind it, and Donovan's, again, right in position for it.
And, I understand sometimes traveling to the longer games can be headaches, whether you're media, family, players, athletic directors. It can be a headache. I get that, but it's still kind of cool.
I don't know.
Like it.
Whenever I've talked to the kids seem to like it.
Yeah.
I think so. It's like, who doesn't like a good road trip? It's nice to get a home game too. Don't get me wrong. And it's even better if you get a couple of home games and then you get the road trip. That's even better for you. You're going a little deep into the playoffs, but road trips are fine. Yeah,
I mean, there's a simple reason 2 years in a row that, when I'd see the baseball schedule come out, I would immediately circle Darien and Norwich Free Academy. The idea of going to Dodd Stadium and making that road trip. It's a 2-hour drive for me. It's fun.
Yes, definitely. I'm a photographer myself, and I love the different backgrounds. I like the different setups, and so from that standpoint, that's it's fun. It's fun.
And you're right. Dodd Stadium creates a whole different thing for me in that you're sitting in what is a minor league baseball press box,
That's
which
cool.
is pretty
That's
darn
cool. A lot
cool.
of fun.
And there may or may not be another place that you can go about 10 minutes down the road at exit 79A, but that's neither here nor there, and I go there for the food. We'll get a substitution here. Still 25 and change to go in this one. No score, New Canaan and McMahon. As New Canaan working from right to left, but getting right in the middle of things to cause trouble and try to avoid the football bench on the near sideline. That was Emma Hargrove. Good hustle by the sophomore. We remain scoreless. By the way, I talked about, terminology, nomenclature, all of that in the first half, Dave. And are you a 0-0 guy? Are you a 2? Should I be saying nil?
I think if you're saying it, 0-0 is okay. When I write it in the paper, I put 0-0.
Yes, sure.
So I guess I'm a 50-50 guy.
I may switch back and forth. How about that?
Well, that would be the same thing. Like if you go 2-0, 3-0,
right.
Things like that. That's each sport has its own language, and especially if you follow volleyball at all, you get stats that mean the same thing from 3 different coaches, and they word it 3 different ways. So
say this only in jest and with tongue firmly planted in cheek. I promise to know the difference. And speaking of that, kind of makes me think about, the FCIAC and our partnership and how exciting all this is. And, you, like me, you've been around the FCIAC a long time, and you are the steward, Mr. Stewart, of FCIAC.net. And, you're often uncomfortable when told so, but you are the guru and a phenomenal job you do with that website. And I know how much the FCIAC has come to mean to you in covering it and, handling the website. And of course, it's really an exciting. And Alex Gordon able to snag it. As the ball was moving, she had to kind of shift back.
Yeah, that was probably the best penetration New Canaan's gotten this half. But in terms of the FCIAC, I found the coaches, the ADs, everybody's been very, very accommodating over the years.
Here's an opportunity that climbs just a touch high. Marisha
had the right amount of height on it, and it was looping down. Got over the head of Donovan, but just a bit outside, as they say, or a bit high.
I've been around the FCIAC ever since I started doing games here in Connecticut. I've just found it to be such a great conference to deal with from top to bottom. And I enjoy the SCC and the SWC, which we did on Saturday, and the great fun we had there football-wise. I've had a chance to broadcast games in so many of the conferences, and certainly very proud that we've got this partnership now with the FCIAC.
This should be a lot of fun, and the league itself, in terms of the number of good teams they have, the number of great programs. You look at what Darienne's done over the last decade or so. They've everything top to bottom is incredible over there. New Canaan's has great athletic program. Really, every team has either had its moments or is a contender every year. And
the funny thing is, it wasn't all that long ago. In the late 90s, Darien football was quite good. And then in the 2000s, they weren't that good in football.
Yeah, they did have a time there. They struggled. They had a couple of coaches go through, and I know Braymeyer was there. He was there with Mike Sangster, of course, who was the legendary Mike Sangster, and very great coach. Those kids would go to war for him. And we had Braymeyer was there. He was working with them, so that was a great combination. And they had they had some changeover and stuff, but Rob Treffone's done a great job with just reestablishing them as a powerhouse every year.
And, of course, Rob Treffone was right here at McMahon.
Yes.
In fact, on his offensive line was the guy who will be my right-hand man for Friday night and most of the nights this season for the play-by-play in football. As it trickles down on net, let's hang on here, and it gets kicked right back the other way. No score with 20-21 to go, just about halfway through the second half. But Chris Irway played for Rob Treffone, was a scholar athlete right here at McMahon. And CJ will be with me on the call Friday night as we kick it off between New Canaan and Ridgefield.
Should be a fun day, doing game day beforehand, and a bunch of interviews with some Ridgefield people and some New Canaan guys, and
I think we know what we're going to get from New Canaan. More of the same from last year. Yes, losses to graduation, but as you said, next man up type of mantra. But
New Canaan's getting a little more activity in front of the net.
They are. And I think Michael Collins has turned into truly a stud quarterback. And a lot of that has to do with his former offensive coordinator, Johnny Marinelli, who's now the head coach at Greenwich. It's Ridgefield, to me, is the X factor. Was last year just a bad year? We just chalk it up to being a bad year? Or are there bigger things at play there? And, of course, what's going on with Kevin Callahan and an interim head coach this year. So I think Ridgefield's a fascinating story. I'm very intrigued to see what we get Friday night.
You'd have to believe they're going to have a bounce-back year, although facing New Canaan leading off is a tall task. And that's a tough one to start with. But you've got to think Ridgefield's better than a 2-7 or a 2-9 team like they were last year.
As they'll head well over the head of Gordon.
Yeah, New Canaan's taken a few shots, which it might have been better off playing it off to somebody or trying to play it through. Because you're just all you're doing there is floating one over the top, and there was really nothing on that kick.
11.5 gone by. Second half, no score. New Canaan in the white. I'm sorry, McMahon in the white, New Canaan in the red. I beg your pardon. if McMahon was wearing the red, you'd have a story on your hands. Not that they don't have red in their jerseys. They do.
It's more framework, though.
It is. Now, I say this with, no sense of rooting interest whatsoever, but I will say, as a broadcaster, and again, unbiased, but I'm always happy to get swag. And that being said, when Athletic Director Joe Matafari handed me a Brien McMahon Athletics T-shirt a few weeks ago, I can't say I turned it down. And it's darn nice. So, New Canaan, there's the challenge, if you choose to accept it. Respond in kind. I didn't wear the shirt today, I promise. We are all in our HAN polos. Dave's is more invisible, that's all. It's, This will roll right almost into the bleachers. Bounce around over there. Just missed coming in by about a hair. So I believe, just as a checklist for all of you schools out there, I have been given a Ludlow polo, more Greenwich stuff than I can count, and a McMahon shirt. There you go.
Is that your whole wardrobe?
The challenge is out there for all of you. I don't even have an FCIAC shirt yet, doggone it. Dave, that's what I should be wearing. I saw Joe Matafari with one not too long ago. I see you with one on occasion. I'm just saying, I'm the broadcaster now.
I'll work on it.
Still no score here. But, hey, it's all in good fun. But Joe Matafari was quite funny when we walked in. Eric Gendron and I got here before anybody else that day during the FCIAC, the tour. And he said, if you're here, you got to wear one. Of course,
there you go. We're getting one in front. Nice.
Of course, I mentioned it to our EP, Marty Hersom. And I said, Marty, I know I'm doing the interviews. He said, yeah, you're still wearing the HAN polo. So there's that.
Yeah, we had a nice little punch away there by kind of slapped away by Katie Donovan.
And that was a good opportunity, but it gets turned back, and here's a chance for a one-on-one. Bounces in, and there we go. Our first goal of the afternoon. It's 1-0.
It's hard to see with the sun. I think that was Sammy Stewart.
Did look like Stewart on the goal. We'll confirm ASAP. And Dave, you go ahead and take a picture. I'll take your microphone down for a moment. Dave's multitasking for me. We're going to get another look at the goal in a moment. But it came with 15:36 to go.
That kind of started with Katie Donovan's save on one end, knocking it away, and created the breakaway going the other direction. Not really a breakaway. They had the defense there, but once you get behind like that, in good shape.
Let's see if New Canaan may have more. And the save out in front. A second try coming, just misses. Now we'll see if we can get another look at that goal. And you can see, Dave, it just got down there tight, and what happened was that Gordon came out to make the play, Dave, but got right around her. And that's our first goal of the afternoon, 1-0.
And now you see New Canaan making another push. And, sometimes that's what happens. You get one in, and the energy level picks up for one side and kind of gets let down for the other. So we'll see if New Canaan can continue to put the pressure on.
And, of course, after she got around Gordon, I mean, she had pretty much, Lake Ontario to shoot into. So we stay at 1-0. As this bounces down and scores. And just like that, New Canaan advances to a 2-0 lead. In the span of 2 minutes and 4 seconds, New Canaan goes up by 2. So 13 and a half to go, and McMahon now with some work to do. They're in a 2-goal hole. So as David said, New Canaan was getting the better penetration, and for sure you could just kind of feel them wearing down McMahon. And, well, once the first goal went through, you got the sense maybe a second one wasn't too far behind, and indeed that's the case. 2-0 with 12:50 to go. Substitutions coming off the McMahon bench. Again, and I mentioned this in the first half, and it's worth mentioning again. You look over, it's just that there's a sheer volume of numbers. The bench players for New Canaan far outnumber the McMahon bench. As this one stays at a 2-0 game. Certainly, as always, we are the ones who make it happen. Well, of course, the coaches and players do. If you were to do a turning point, I sensed when McMahon had really one of their biggest chances right down here. It happened within just a moment of the first New Canaan goal, and I felt like that was a big change right there.
And just put it over the top, and,
it did.
And that was it. And you got to hand it to Kate. That one would have beaten Katie Donovan had it been low enough, because it did get over her head. But she's been in the right spot for almost everything today, and even that first goal that Mierendorf scored started with the defensive play by her. She slapped it away, and New Canaan kind of counters in that point, and you end up with a goal. And a lot of times in a game like this, it will start with the defense, because you get everybody pushing forward, and people start to get tired out, and they can't get back as quick. And when you're on offense and you're going forward, you can put a little more putting a little more energy into it. It's hard to fall back as a defense, scramble back that quickly. And Dial, who has a goal and an assist now, exceptional sophomore. She had a great freshman season, had a couple of goals in those penalty kick games they had in the state tournament and against St. Joe's. And she's a very good ice hockey player too.
We'll be thinking about that before you know it. It happens a lot sooner than you think.
These seasons do move quickly. I feel like the winter is a little dragged out because of the holidays and things like that.
Yes.
A little bit, I don't want to say dragged out, a little elongated.
Well, the spring season goes and just, that's done enough.
It starts and it's done.
Yeah.
But if you ask cross-country coaches in the fall, I mean, their season's done mid-October.
Yeah, that's very true. And we are planning to be at Waveney Park. Probably in a similar format that we did last year, in which we set up our tent right near the end of the finish line of the course, and we grabbed athletes as they came off, and some other folks that came over and talked to us.
It's a beautiful event. It's fun. It's really one of my favorite events of the FCIAC postseason, any season really. It's just a beautiful setting at Waveney Park in New Canaan. You're in October. It's New England. The leaves are changing colors, and it's just a beautiful background.
Off the corner, it comes right out in front, and for McMahon, they really need to get on the board. 4.5 to go. It's still 2-0. This will bounce out into that parking lot over there, kind of an access road and service parking lot.
This question was asked earlier, would McMahon have taken a point, I'm sure, against the team that says a point for a tie.
Sure.
And I'm sure against a team like New Canaan, that's one of those situations where if it did end up in a tie, I'm sure New Canaan would feel like they had lost out, whereas with McMahon they would feel like that was a good thing for them. But they did play well enough to get a point. Just, it happens.
But back to winter sports, you're right. It really won't be that much longer before the winter sports will be available, and you're starting to put together that schedule.
Oh yeah, it moves quick. It really does.
I know.
It's tough to keep up with sometimes.
From my perspective, we will be very heavy on hockey and basketball, both girls and boys. And, again, I've mentioned Eric Gendron directing today. He's off mic right now, but he was on mic for really one of the, dare I say, seminal moments of HAN Network, the girls hockey state championship last year, which was much maligned. Nice save to push that one aside. That's nice work out in front by Gordon. One of her better saves, I would say, in the second half.
And that was a nice shot by Ozumik. She put it right on the net and it just punched away.
Yep.
It was at the right height for Gordon, but still going to make the play.
Under 3 to go. And, of course, famously, that game turned out to be a tie. They did play overtime. They wanted more overtime, but they instead handed out co-champion medals, which Dave and I were just talking about co-champs a moment or so ago and how much neither one of us liked that. That turned into a national story that didn't truly need to be a national story. I mean, heck, I wound up having a chat with a gentleman named Jack Edwards, as he was quite outraged. And look, many of us, I think all of us, were disappointed that it turned out to be a tie. But that is the way it went. And I think everybody recognized what happened and made sure it won't happen again. But I will tell you, from the perspective of the people I talked to, it was just one of those things where it's not like the organizers wanted it to be a tie. Those are very pro-girls hockey people involved, as you know.
Yes. We do. I just got a score. Boys soccer, Ludlow is playing Darien today, which is a very good matchup. Of course, Ludlow had a great season last year, and Ludlow leads Darien 1-0 at the end of the first half. And that's Nikki Stahl at the goal. A lot of boys' games today. I think this is actually the only girls' soccer game today.
1:35 to go in this one. We'll have a couple of girls' soccer games throughout the fall. A couple of boys as well, some field hockey as well. So the dance card full.
You've got a good one coming up Thursday, Greenwich and Wilton.
I think that will be a good one. Tim Murphy will be along for that one. And again, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, if you certainly want to get involved with us via either potentially on the air and certainly off the air, we'd certainly be happy to talk to you. Eric Gendron handles the off-the-air side, certainly from the video perspective. You can get him at video@HersumAcorn.com. And if you're interested in broadcasting, play-by-play, being on the air, audio editing, or just chatting, it's radio@HersumAcorn.com, and that's where you'll get me. 44 to go in a 2-0 game, and barring something, New Canaan's going to walk away with a 2-goal win. As this one will trickle down on net, stopping things again with under 20 to go, just about under 20 to go. This will be kicked back out towards center.
10, 9,
and the countdown
8,
on
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And this one's in the books. McMahon was certainly game, Dave, but New Canaan just the better team in the end.
Definitely, and I think part of that is that New Canaan is a deep team. They have, they pride themselves on being one of the better conditioned teams around, or one of the better conditioned schools around, and they do wear teams out after a while. Today, I thought McMahon did a great job, and again, the word that keeps coming up with them is improvement, and which they've shown, and I think they showed that today. This is a much better performance than what they've done against New Canaan in past years.
Certainly, as a reminder, as we get ready to take a break and perhaps a post-game guest or a post-match guest, if you will, we thank our sponsors, Walter Stewart's Market, Pamby Motors, Coastal Orthopedics, and Carl Chevrolet. Shall we think about a post-game guest?
We'll do it.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back, and we'll put a wrap on it. Final score, 2-0. New Canaan knocks off McMahon. Girls soccer continues after this on the HAN Network.
When you experience a sports injury, you want to get better and fast. Coastal Ortho Express gives you direct access to orthopedic care quickly. Their physicians are fellowship trained in sports medicine at world-class universities and are also team doctors for area football teams. For specialized personal care of sports injuries, go to Coastal Ortho Express. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building, 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or coastalorthoexpress.com. Coastal Orthopedics, keeping you on the move.
Does buying a car leave you feeling like you're chasing your tail? Head straight to Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram and take car buying in a whole new direction.
Football University, the nation's leading football training experience, is now accepting applications for its 2015 camps. Our elite faculty of NFL coaches and top professionals teach position-specific on the field and in the classroom to improve your football IQ and help you reach your full potential as a player. Apply today at footballuniversity.org. Football University, where technique plus talent beats talent alone.
School means back to busy, and Stewart's Market can save you precious time by stocking all of your favorite essentials under one roof. For a healthy start to school, we have all the ingredients. Walter Stewart's, your family-owned fresh local market, 229 Elm Street and at stewartsmarket.com.
Carl Chevrolet is proud to sponsor HAN Network's coverage of the area's best high school sports. No matter the sport, competition in the FCIAC is spirited, so get out and cheer on your favorite team. If you can't make it to the game, be sure to bring HAN Network with you to keep up with the action. Visit Carl Chevrolet in New Canaan or online at carldirect.com.
While the temperatures are cooling down, the fall bite is heating up. Albies, bonita, blackfish, alligator blues, and stripers are following the large schools of bait that are abundant in the Long Island Sound. If you love the New England coast during autumn, this is the time to be on the water. The latest from Shimano, Quantum, Avet, Hoagie, Phase 2, and more are in stock and ready to go at the dock shop. And don't mind those fall breezes with jackets, hats, gloves, and fleece from Grundens and Stormer. The dock shop will keep you warm and dry. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The dock shop, now in 2 locations, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
Brien McMahon with Dave Stewart. I'm Rob Adams. And Dave, I will hand it off to you. You will, first of all, have a chat with this lady on my left.
So it's Braden Dial, goal and an assist today. Nice game. Just say, for a while there, it looked like the offense took a little while to get going. And what were they doing that was giving you guys so much trouble today? Early on?
Well, I think we were also trying out at the beginning of the season, new players up at different positions, and I think that they had a really strong physical defense that we just weren't prepared for from our previous games, and once we got in the different rotations, it ended up working out.
Now you finally break through with.
Well, it was also a great kick from Sammy. I mean, wouldn't have been able to do that without her. We were practicing that a lot in practice, and Kirk has been doing a really good job having us practice our finishing and crossing and free kicks. Yeah.
2-0 to start the season now. Obviously there's going to be some tougher ones coming up, but are you happy with the way it started?
Yeah, I'm pumped.
Yeah. All right, Rob?
All right. Well, what went right from your perspective?
Our defenders definitely got to the ball a lot. They put a lot of pressure on the offense. The offense didn't really have much chance to shoot because our defenders definitely did such a great job, and a lot of our offenders dropped back well to pick up the players.
I thought there was a big turning point right before the first goal, and that was down at your end. The ball kind of sailed right over your net. Nothing you needed to do, but they had good pressure on you. Went over your head, missed opportunity for them, and I felt like your team got it back the other way. I ask you as a captain, did you sense that at that moment?
Yes, definitely. I mean, there were definitely some close calls where there was a lot of pressure on our net, and I think the team sensed that, and we realized that we really needed to get this win, and so in order to do that, we just had to step it up.
How about a word about McMahon? Because, thinking was your team's so good, McMahon's still trying to come along, but they looked awfully good, at least from my perspective today.
Yes, definitely. They came up very strong. They kind of took us by surprise there, and we were very impressed by how they stepped up their game this year.
All right, Kate, last thing for you. You've survived the interview. You okay now?
Yeah.
Congratulations. Great win today. All right. We will take another break, and Dave and I will come back and wrap it up. New Canaan gets the win. They're 2-0, and that was the final score today, 2-0. We come back on the HAN Network right after this.
When you experience a sports injury, you want to get better and fast. Coastal Ortho Express gives you direct access to orthopedic care quickly. Their physicians are fellowship trained in sports medicine at world-class universities and are also team doctors for area football teams. For specialized personal care of sports injuries, go to Coastal Ortho Express. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building, 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or coastalorthoexpress.com. Coastal Orthopedics, keeping you on the move.
Have no fear. Hersom Acorn's Fast Frights movie contest is here. Can your film make the cut? Submit your original 3-minute horror movie today. Visit fastfrights.com for more details.
Means back to busy, and Stewart's Market can save you precious time by stocking all of your favorite essentials under one roof. For a healthy start to school, we have all the ingredients. Walter Stewart's, your family-owned fresh local market, 229 Elm Street and at stewartsmarket.com.
Welcome back to Brien McMahon High School with our entire crew. Dave Stewart, Eric Gendron up here in the booth with me. I'm Rob Adams. Final score 2-0 as New Canaan survives to get the win against a spirited Brien McMahon team that certainly played well, just unfortunately couldn't find the back of the net. But it stayed scoreless really until about 15 and a half to play in the second half when Freya Mirendorf scored from Braden Dial. That made it 1-0. Braden Dial then from Mia Carroll just 2 minutes and 4 seconds later. 2-0 final score. 2-0 are McMahon, 0-2. Rather, 2-0 are New Canaan, 0-2. McMahon. And that will do it from Brien McMahon High School on the Jack Casagrande Field on the campus of Brien McMahon High School. Final score once again, New Canaan 2, McMahon nothing. Our next broadcast comes your way Thursday, now at 4:30. The time has changed, 4:30. Greenwich and Wilton from Cardinal Stadium in Greenwich, boys soccer and football on Friday as the New Canaan Rams take on the Ridgefield Tigers. We thank our sponsors on this Tuesday afternoon, Walter Stewart's Market, Pamby Motors, Coastal Orthopedics, and Carl Chevrolet. We have Nutmeg Sports tomorrow at 2. We also have Coffee Break tomorrow at 11 o'clock. For our entire crew here at Brien McMahon High School, Dave Stewart, Director Eric Gendron, AJ Simonowski, the whole crew, I'm Rob Adams. Final score, 2-0, New Canaan with the win. So long from Norwalk.
The preceding has been a